Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and I'm back with me Sunday live new stream. I know I'm a bit early. It's supposed to start at 9. I couldn't be bothered waiting. So just thought I'd get on with it. Right, we're live on streaming live on YouTube. Just make sure, yes, we are. We should be streaming live on Rumble, I hope. You never know. I never know if it's going to work. Yes, it is. So we're streaming live on Rumble. And we're streaming live on Twitch. Yes, we are. We're live on Twitch as well. So let me share that. Always gets me a couple of followers on X. If I share one of these streams on X, I always get a couple of followers for some reason, or at least somebody liking it. But anyway, but not followers on Twitch. I've still only got, how many followers have I got on Twitch? 2 followers. I used to have 3, but I lost one, and now I've just got 2. Don't know why I bother. How do you get more viewers on Twitch? I've no idea. I'd have to get my boobs out or something. I don't know. Anyway, we've got some news stuff to look at tonight. But before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment. Hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. You know, that only makes sense to subscribe. Then you can hit the notification bell. And then you'll be told when I'm going live or if I've uploaded a new video. Like today, I did a video about my latest Blu-rays and stuff I've bought. What else? I'll upload it later to Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. I've got a Patreon page, so don't forget to do my Patreon banner. There we go. I've still only got one patron, and it's Archmage Frey. I don't know why it keeps going, because he's a good egg. That's why. I put videos up there regularly, at least one a week. One new video. I did one yesterday or the day before. Watching an old Doctor Who episode, Terror of the Zygons. We watched that yesterday. So there we go. So that's my Patreon. Links in the description. I'm on Facebook, X, and Twitter. Links in the description for that. As are the links for my 2 books. I don't plug these much these days, do I? Silent Predator, short horror novella about big cats eating people in the North Yorkshire village. Mercury Rapids, it's also got a bit of conspiracy in. Mercury Rapids, light-hearted sci-fi action adventure, which also has a bit of conspiracy in about UFOs and stuff, and alien abductions and invasions and space battles and stuff like that. All that stuff. Right, so let's get on with the news, shall we? Let's get on with the news. Oh, with the yard. Oh, cracky, I'm tired. Right, make myself titch tiny. First bit of news. I don't know if I get into trouble for showing it, but what the heck? It's on the internet. Who gives a monkeys? Right, the trailer for The Acolyte has leaked. Apparently, this leaked several months ago. I'm not sure exactly how many, because it's been on YouTube a while. But clips of it. Apparently, this is the first time we've seen the full 1 minute 25 leak. It was filmed in a theatre, so obviously at Star Wars Celebration or whatever, of the trailer for The Acolyte. The series that even I was saying wasn't going to happen, but apparently it is. But here we go. But I won't play it. I'll just show still. So we start off. There we go. These are obviously some younglings. There we go, doing stuff. And then we see some people. That looks very Star Wars. I think this could be Carrie-Anne Moss. Should we go full screen if it'll let me? There we go. Walking through a not very Star Warsy looking location, but it's not the best quality, is it? It's supposed to be set, is it at least 100 years, isn't it, before Phantom Menace? So we could see Yoda. That looks a brightly lit scene. More younglings. As I said, I don't know what's happening. I haven't actually watched it, to be completely honest, because, who gives a monkeys about the Acolyte, to be honest. But apparently there's no guns. There's no blasters in this. It's all lightsabers. So, anyway, there were Carrie-Anne Moss. Look, there she is. Don't know who that is. Some people. Do we get to see some lightsabers flashing? Don't know who that is. Is it a Sith? Then we get the Lucasfilm logo. Oh, that's a spaceship. Looks like an old. Oh no, it's not a spaceship, is it? It's a scenery. I thought it was one of them cargo ships. Oh dear. And then we've got the view changes now. Some person. Is it a Jedi? Don't know. Oh look, a Nemoidian. A Nemoidian. And if they're going to be just as stereotypical, you know, racist, not stereotypical. Anyway, so let's say some more shots. There we go, lightsaber there. Cool. That's what we like to see. More Jedi. People looking concerned. Looks like a baddie. Don't know. Is it a knife she's got? Looks like some sort of knife. Or is it a vibro blade? Probably. But anyway, there we go. So, oh, another baddie looking person. Is that a she got horns on her head? Is she like a Darth Maul type Zabrak? Don't know. I'm confused with the Zabrak. I thought they were, you know, Dathomirians, and I get all confused. But anyway, or do they just live on Did they just live on Dathomir at the same time as the Night Sisters? I don't know. That's a Rob of Jedi. Ooh, look, lighting up there, lad. They only like the lightsabers. There we go. Hey, and I bet the crowd went mental. Bet they did. I haven't got the audio on. And there we go. There's the title, The Acolyte. I bet the crowd went, ooh, cool. Bet they did. So there we go. So that's that. Just thought I'd show that. Probably getting into trouble now for that. Have a look. Oh, press the wrong button. No, it still says excellent connection. Thought I might get into trouble. Might do later. Never mind. Who cares? Not me. I'm in that sort of a mood today. Right, so we'll move on. I'll get rid of that. Move on to some real news. Some Doctor Who. I always say Doctor Who. Because we're going to say Doctor Who news. I was say Doctor Who news. Whatever. Right. Full screen. I didn't full screen that last one, did I? Right, here we go. Doctor Who's latest theme music revamp to debut on BBC Radio 2 next month. It'll be broadcast as part of the Doctor Who at 60, a musical celebration. And there's Shooty Gatwa as the 15th Doctor, even though he's really the 14th Doctor. But for some reason, they call it David Tennant, the 14th Doctor, saying he's completely different to the 10th Doctor, even though he has all the same characteristics and mannerisms, but never mind. Right, the latest version of Doctor Who's iconic theme tune is expected to debut on BBC Radio 2 next month. To mark the Sci-Fi show's 60th anniversary, Joe Wiley will present a special edition of Sunday Night is Music Night on BBC Radio 2. Doctor Who at 60, a musical celebration. Recorded on Thursday, 28th September, at the home of BBC National Orchestra of Wales, Hodinet Hall, at the Wales Millennium Centre in Cardiff. The concert will feature the BBC National Orchestra of Wales and the BBC Singers, conducted by Alistair King. Musical pieces to be broadcast for the first time include composer Murray Gold's latest version of the Doctor Who theme music, plus the theme tune of the 15th Doctor called 15th, and Ruby Sundays, the Doctor's new companion theme, The Life of Sunday. I wonder if it goes like that, if it's like Ruby Sunday, The Life of Sunday. Bet it in. Fans of the show will be treated to other familiar themes, including I Am the Doctor, Abigail's Song, This is Gallifrey, The Impossible Girl, I Am a Good Man, and The Shepherd's Boy. The concert will also include contributions from Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies and former series bosses Stephen Moffat and Chris Chibnall. Boo! Not boo for Stephen Moffat, but boo for Chris Chibnall, because he ruined Doctor Who. It could be argued that it were going downhill mid. I know I've said this a lot. Mid Peter Capaldi, which was Stephen Moffat, wasn't it? It started going from there. But it was the way of the world at the time. Me Too and all that. That's what triggered it all, didn't it? Anyway, Joe Wiley said, as listeners to my Radio 2 show know, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. So presenting this concert, I got to yawn again. I do apologise. I'm tired. I'm tired today. And I think I had a good night's sleep, I think. But anyway. I'll start that again. Joe Wiley said, as listeners to my Radio 2 show know, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, so presenting this concert is a dream come true. How better to mark the incredible 60th anniversary of the show than with this wonderful celebration of the music that has featured across the decades. Helen Thomas, head of Radio 2, added BBC Radio 2 just had to mark this momentous anniversary of one of our most loved BBC TV series. It's funny that they're doing it on BBC Radio 2, isn't it? And not Radio 1. Radio 1's like the kids station, isn't it? Radio 2 is for more mature, a more mature audience. But anyway, maybe kids don't want to watch Doctor Who anymore. We're thrilled to bring the amazing BBC National Orchestra of Wales and the BBC singers to the station to play the memorable music of Doctor Who, which we know our listeners will love. Doctor Who Act 60, a musical celebration, will be broadcast on BBC Radio 2 from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sunday, 15th of October. Mark your calendars, and will be available to hear on BBC Sounds. The concert was also filmed for BBC iPlayer to be broadcast at a later date. Oh, that'll be good. Pardon me. Radio 2's My Life in a Mixtape will continue the 60th anniversary celebrations in the autumn when Doctor Who actors sharing the music that has been the soundtrack to their life. I'm yawning and I'm burping. Me and Aiden's just had a McDonald's. I had a Big Mac and he had his nuggets. But I don't have fries. I can't manage it. I used to be able to like wolf down McDonald's and stuff. Totally changing the subject now. Sometimes I'd have like a Big Mac and I'd have a cheeseburger and large fries and all this stuff. Just wolf it down and, still be hungry afterwards. Nowadays, I can just manage a Big Mac and I can't eat fries. I get a apple and grape bag. That's what I get now instead of fries. Anyway, that's by the by. Radio 2's My Life in a Mixtape will continue the 60th anniversary celebrations in the autumn when Doctor Who actors share in the music that has been the soundtrack to their life from childhood through to now. Doctor Who itself will return in November 2023 with 3 special episodes with David Tennant returning to the show as the 14th Doctor alongside Catherine Tate, reprising her role as Donna Noble. Shooty Gatwa, I still don't know how you get Shooty out of that, but never mind, will take over as the 15th Doctor from over the festive period. And there we go, that's just more information there. So there we go. So that'll be interesting to listen to. It's the classic Murray Gold, getting it back to its greatness. So there we go. So I forgot what I'm going to say. Yes, by the way, the links for all the articles are in the description down below, and I'll be putting timestamps in later on if you want to switch about. So there we go. So that's something to look forward to. 15th of October, mark your calendars. Right, we'll move on. We will move on now to Stargate. Oh, this isn't a long article because I haven't checked it. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. There's a big the scroll bar at the side is tiny. So anyway, Stargate's next move will be world-building analysis. As the writer's strike comes to an end, Amazon and MGM turn to the future of a science fiction franchise in desperate need of revival. I hope it's not a long article. But anyway, whatever. Right, the entertainment industry is abuzz this week over good news coming out of negotiations between the Writers Guild of America and the Motion Picture Studios. A deal has been reached, bringing an end to a labour strike that has stretched nearly 150 days. Next up is a fair deal for the Screen Actors Guild, since the studios have reached an agreement with the writers. I'm going to yawn again. Woo! With the writers over sticking points like streaming residuals and the use of generative AI. There is room for optimism that Film Actors Guild negotiators will be able to extract similar concessions and end that strike in short order. Hollywood is getting back to work, and that's a good sign for Stargate. Why? What do these labour disputes have to do with a legacy sci-fi franchise that has been sitting on the shelf for most of the past 12 years? Fans of Stargate have been waiting with bated breath since Amazon acquired Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in 2022, knowing that Amazon is looking to make use of MGM's legacy properties. Full stop. We know that Stargate is near the top of their priority list for new film and television development, alongside the likes of James Bond, RoboCop, Rocky, and Legally Blonde. So what's next for Stargate? And are fans finally about to actually get a concrete announcement? There are good reasons to think that, yes, the next chapter of the franchise is just around the corner. And when the studio finally pulls the trigger and hires a creative team, the first order of business will be world building, setting up a universe not just for a single show or an entertaining movie, but for years of new storytelling. And there's what's his face, James Spader as Daniel Jackson in the original Stargate movie. Which, is a good film, and it gave us the Stargate franchise, but the series SG-1 and Atlantis improved upon it, didn't they? To be honest, they did. Right, options. The end of the writers' strike at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday means that guild members who might already be tied to a new Stargate project can finally officially get back to work. I bet that loads of them have been at home hammering away on the typewriters. I bet they have. We had like big, massive, thick manuscript. We finished this last night. Have you been working during the strike? No. The WGA has authorised work to resume in the interim between now and early October, when members will vote to formally ratify their new contract. Or if the writers' deal with Amazon and MGM isn't set yet, they are free to sign on the dotted line. While, of course, the studio has remained silent so far on just who might be reporting, who that might be, reporting from late last year gives us some ideas. Amazon passed on an existing script written by SG-1 co-creator Brad Wright, opting instead to take pictures from other creators for an entirely new idea. As a result, they had several options on the table, but were especially favourable toward what they heard from Mark Fergus and Hawk Osby, great name, who co-created. He should have his own series, shouldn't he, Hawk Osby, as like a spy. Anyway, who co-created The Expanse, adapting it for television from the novel series. Now looking ahead to 2024, Amazon and MGM have two big choices to make in order to get Stargate moving again. First, will the next Stargate be a hard reboot of the fictional universe and its mythology, or a continuation of what has already been built? And second, should that next story be told in the form of a movie or a weekly series, or perhaps something else? I hear that Amazon head Jennifer Salke is inclined to starting with a movie that in turn sets up a streaming TV series. Whatever choices are made, well, like the old days when they used to do a pilot movie, didn't they, for a series? Just do a feature-length pilot, didn't they, in the old days? Why do we get back to that? Let's start with feature-length pilots again. Anyway, whatever choices are made here, it's clear that the creative team will need to do some world building in order to tee up not only the next project, but an ongoing franchise. This is what Amazon no doubt hopes to build, and their first decisions here are going to set the tone for everything that comes after. Whether that world is set in the existing television continuity or starts over from scratch, it will need characters, settings, antagonists, and ideas deep enough to sustain the next generation of adventures. And there's Robert Picardo as I forgot his name now. Richard Thingamabob Woolsey. Richard Woolsey, who was in charge in the last season of Stargate Atlantis, in charge of the Atlantis expedition. And there's Colonel John Shepard there, looking at an open wormhole. Continuing the world. The best option by far is to continue forward with Stargate's existing canon, made up of 3 movies and more than 350 episodes of television. This is the world created by Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin, by Jonathan Glassner and Brad Wright, and beloved by so many fans around the world who are still connected to this iteration of Stargate. Imagine Disney closing the deal to buy Lucasfilm in 2012 and not only declaring things like the previous novels to be no longer canon, but even decanonizing the original Star Wars trilogy. Or imagine kind of doing that. Or imagine CBS wiping out all of Star Trek's continuity in order to launch Discovery in 2017. Even J.J. Abrams gave Trek a soft reboot in 2009, employing Leonard Nimoy's Spock and a bit of time travel to maintain a clear connection between his new Enterprise and the Prime Universe timeline. Stargate is not anywhere near the size of those franchises, of course, but the principle remains the same. Fans who are already invested in this universe want more of it, not a completely different version of it that ignores the characters and stories that made them love Stargate to begin with. Stargate 2024. So let's start here. If the writers of the next Stargate continue on with the universe as it was left in 2011, what does it look like? Where are our favourite characters at? And perhaps more importantly, who are the people we will follow in new adventures? The first question to be answered concerns who is going through the Stargate and where the gate is located. Is it still inside Cheyenne Mountain? Or as it was called in the original film, I forgot what they called it now. It wasn't called Cheyenne Mountain. I think it showed Cheyenne Mountain, didn't it? At the entrance, but they called it something else, didn't they? I can't remember what they called it now. I can't remember. But it wasn't Cheyenne Mountain. It was that in the series. Is it still inside Cheyenne Mountain? Operates as a top secret facility of the US military. While the Stargate and the existence of alien life might not have gone public by 2024, it seems necessary that the SGC has evolved to a more international operation. While I'd rather see someone like General Hammond call the shots on the base rather than an IOA TOYG, that's the International Oversight Authority or whatever it's called, something like that. Like a civilian agency that oversaw, Stargate Command and all that. With representatives from, different nations like Britain and France and Russia and China and all that. Richard Wolsey were an IOA toady until he became the leader of the Atlantis expedition, and there learned, that not everything's like it is in the reports. Became a good character. Anyway, there should be clear and significant involvement from the other governments of the world. The Atlantis expedition struck a nice balance here with a neutral command post made up of international scientists and soldiers and a leader who was supported by the military but ultimately answered to an international body. There's also the pesky problem about Atlantis' presence on Earth, as of the spin-off's final episode. The rules of gate travel say that the newer Atlantis gate takes precedence for all incoming travel, so the new script at least needs a mention of the city having returned to the Pegasus galaxy at some point, which was the plan for the unfilmed Atlantis movie, Stargate Extinction. Maybe they should just make that. Anyway, as for the characters, by Air Force regulations, General O'Neill has honourably retired by now, and it's easy enough to make references to other main characters without the need to integrate them into the show. Name check General Samantha Carter, Doctors Jackson and McKay, or Colonel Shepard, and then plan for some big guest appearances down the road. In building out the existing canon for new storytelling, this world needs new central characters, new allies, and new antagonists. Just the sheer amount of time that has passed for Earth is nearly a soft reset of its own. Stargate the Next Generation. Hopefully, hopefully without F-bombs and stuff. It's not necessary. Although the original pilot episode for Stargate SG-1, Children of the Gods, had full frontal nudity in. But they took that out, didn't they? But you can still get it on DVD. If that's your bag. Anyway, Stargate Next Generation. With new people in charge and brave men and women ready to explore new worlds through the gate. New story ideas can introduce new technologies or deal Earth some setbacks, like temporarily grounding its fleet of advanced ships. Yes, because in SG-1, we've not an Atlantis. We've not only got gate travel to other planets and other galaxies. We've also got a fleet of ships that can travel between galaxies as well. The Daedalus class ships, and we probably have different ones by the time this comes around. And obviously space fighters as well, the F-301s, F-302s, whatever they are, I can't remember. F-302s, I think. A continuation has the advantage of already having all the building blocks in place. Earth has been using the Stargate since the 1990s with hallowed names like Jack O'Neill and Daniel Jackson, having saved the planet countless times and helped Earth to grow into a major player in the galaxy. We are the fifth race, is humans, the Tauri. We are the fifth race. So one of the most powerful races ever, along with the ancients, the Asgard, the Nox, the Furlings, and Owls. But we've never seen the Furlings. Starting everything over from scratch, maybe they should be the baddies. The main, the Furlings have returned, don't like how humans have been looking after the Gate network. And it could be like the, obviously they're not going to be furry. We saw a version of them in the episode 200 of SG1 where they look like koala bears, Ewoks things, didn't they? But obviously, I don't think they look like that. They're just called furlings. I don't mean the furry. But anyway, so there could be like some terrible, like for all we know, there could be like some Cthulhu type beasts. For all we know, almost gods. For all we know. But that's by the by. Starting everything over from scratch, though, requires that once loyal viewers set aside everything they know about the Stargate universe, how the Stargate works, who is using it, and for what purposes, what species are out there in the galaxy, etc. It requires that everything begin again at the beginning with no more Zats, so a gun, no more Goa'uld, who are the main baddies, no more replicators, the robots, not the replicators from Star Trek, or Tok'ra, who are Goa'uld, but they were goodies. Heck, the wormhole might not even be one way. Might not even be one way. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can travel backwards and forth through an open wormhole, like in Stargate Infinity, the cartoon. I mean, they could do it. I mean, originally, in the original film, and I think that was set by Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin, the Stargate only went to Abydos, but it wasn't called Abydos in the film. They called it that in SG1, but only went to where Ra lived in the film. It didn't go anywhere else. Anyway, from a creative standpoint, the reboot is appealing because it cuts loose the baggage of 354 episodes. Don't call it baggage. Established character traits, defeated enemies, how technology works, etc. It's kind of an anti-franchise move, though. Rather than building a storytelling franchise, the studio will be killing one off in order to use its name, which is, pretty much par for the course in Hollywood, isn't it? Real franchises are hard work and they require institutional memory to maintain a degree of continuity across multiple projects made by different creatives. If you want that canon consultant, guys, I'm here, really. The author, not me. It's hard to speculate about the world building that a new team of writers might choose to do here. Perhaps like Glassner and Wright, they would start from the 1994 feature film and elaborate from there. Or perhaps they'll reboot that too, with a different sort of alien portal discovered somewhere else in the world. This is it. Well, yeah, I was just going to say that here. The Stargate might look totally different. It could be like a triangle or, something we can't even imagine. A cloud. But anyway. Will the Stargate still be round? Will the show have the same elements of history and mythology? Will it even include the military at all? Do they leave their people behind? As the writers of a reboot begin to ask themselves what elements are necessary for a new show to still be Stargate. I mean, they could call it Stargate, and it could be like Buck Rogers. They had Stargates in Buck Rogers. Do you remember that? Which they used to travel to other star systems. It was a bit like a hyperspace jump point in Babylon 5. It flew through it and it went, and the ship came out the other side, close to where they were supposed to be going. They called them Stargates, so there you go. Back in 1979 or 1980, I think, when the series came out, wasn't it? Anyway, as the writers of a reboot begin to ask themselves what elements are necessary for a new show to still be Stargate, it seems that the final product could take most any shape. It might end up quite close to the heart of SG1 Atlantis or Universe, which I hope, Or it might be its own unique entity, unrecognisable to those looking for something of the old spark. It would be up to the new writers and their ability to take the brand name Stargate and remake it with their own vision, hopefully, even if it used different names and chronicled a very different history. A movie or show like this would still feel familiar to those of us who love the original. Oh, there's from Stargate Universe, because that ended on a cliffhanger, didn't it? Where they all went into cryo freeze, or I can't remember, suspended animation, and they're still out there traveling to the billions of light years away, aren't they, on the Destiny. Anyway, where were we? Stargate was never dead. How long's this article gone for? Oh, nearly done. We're nearly done. Oh, thank goodness. Again, the reboot is not the best case scenario for Amazon and MGM's big creative choice. And what I hear suggests that this is not their preferred path. A hard reboot risks much more than starting from scratch in building a new fan base. It also risks alienating some fans and turning them into active and vocal opponents of the next Stargate. A little history lesson is in order to explain why I think that's the case. It has everything to do with the fact that Stargate's fan base is not just still active, but holds the memory of a series of unjust cancellations more than a decade ago. Excuse me. Stargate Atlantis didn't go off the air in 2009 or Stargate Universe in 2011 because either of those shows had played themselves out. Stargate was put up on that shelf because of a conflux of MGM's 2010 bankruptcy and the collapse of the DVD market. I don't remember that. People talk about the collapse of the DVD market. What? I don't understand that. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe it did. I don't know. But people have always bought DVDs. You can still buy them now. So I don't understand that. Anyway, the industry struggled to account for DVR delayed viewing, or maybe, I don't know, no, because like there were no like streaming back in 2010, were there? Not that I can recall. Anyway, the industry struggled to account for DVR delayed viewing. That's like, TiVo and stuff like that, isn't it? Legal and financial shenanigans inside the studio, making the MMORPG Stargate Worlds, and most of all, a cable network with new leadership that had already decided it was done with hard sci-fi, and with Stargate in particular, and so shuffled off Stargate to give its long-held time slot over to professional wrestling, which was the Sci-Fi channel, or Sci-Fi, as it became known. It started showing like WWE, I think SmackDown aired on Sci-Fi. Briefly, it wasn't for that long. It's not on there now. There was some interest in the third season of SGU at Sci-Fi, but the timing with MGM's bankruptcy could not have been worse. As the powers that be tell the story, when the network called to negotiate a possible renewal, there was nobody at MGM there to pick up the phone, and there's the Destiny. Traveling not through hyperspace. It's got it's got what's called an FTL drive, faster than light drive, which I think is supposed to be faster than hyperspace, even though this was a development before hyperspace travel was invented. So it can't be really. I don't know. I don't know. No, it isn't faster, is it? Because it takes them a long time to travel between galaxies in Stargate Universe, so it can't be faster than hyperspace. Anyway, whatever. I was there. I covered the rise and fall of the franchise in real time here at Gate World, as nearly everyone I knew at the studio was forced to pack up and move to their next job. If we want to stick with the death metaphor, in 2010, Stargate didn't die off, it was murdered. Okay, that's overly dramatic, but my point has everything to do with the same fan base that is still active today and the stories that still have so much life left in them. Stargate is far from a dead franchise, needing a brand new take to breathe life back into it. And so a hard reboot of the canon is the wrong choice right now. Well said, whoever wrote it, Darren. Stargate isn't a brand associated with some old show your parents watched, but which no one thinks much about anymore. Stargate still has millions of fans around the world who are waiting for its revival, still watching reruns, still welcoming newcomers who discover the shows on streaming, still going to conventions and buying up merchandise. We're waiting, Amazon. Make a good choice. We want to see the world you will build. So says Darren, who created Gateworld in 1999 and is the site's managing editor. There we go. Hopefully, we'll get some news about what Stargate's future is going to be on Amazon/MGM. Oh, it still just says. I was going to see what his last name is. It just says Darren. Never mind. See what the future of Stargate will be. There's channels on YouTube that have scoops and stuff, such as Sidetrek. Go check them out. But hopefully, it won't be long before we get some news. I think it'll be. I don't think it'll be this year. Now, I think they'll save it for next year before they announce something. But I bet decisions have been made and behind the scenes, and we'll learn something. Things will be moving forward, but I don't think we'll learn anything before next year. I don't know why. I've just got that feeling. Or maybe we will. I don't know. Maybe we'll hear something tomorrow. I don't know. I've just got that feeling we won't hear anything. It'll be later rather than soon before we hear something. I've just got that feeling. Anyway, so there we go. Let's move on. Because that was a long article and it's dried my throat. Right. A couple of remake stories next. For God's sake. I think I've got them one after another. Hang on, let me check. No, it ain't. I'll just move that. There we go. Yes, we'll do these next. Right. So here we go. Chris Pratt, there he is attached to a classic sci-fi movie remake. Who's this by? Oh, Small Screen. Never heard of this website before, but it popped up in the news feed. The cinematic world is abuzz with the latest news that Chris Pratt, the renowned Hollywood actor, is set to star in a remake of a classic sci-fi film. The film in question, the iconic The Day the Earth Stood Still, which was remade not that long ago, starring Keanu Reeves. And it was horrible. With Pratt's star power and the film's legendary status, this announcement has undoubtedly piqued the interest of movie enthusiasts worldwide. Not this one, it'll be horrible. But it might not, I don't know. But anyway. Chris Pratt, known for his roles in blockbuster franchises like Jurassic World and Guardians of the Galaxy, is now venturing into the realm of classic science fiction. But what can fans expect from this new adaptation? Let's delve into the details. Oh, there's Keanu Reeves and whoever that is. Is it what's her face? I can't remember her name now. That we're in Labyrinth. I don't know. I've only seen it once and I thought it was crap. So, oh, pardon me. Right, the legacy of The Day the Earth Stood Still. The Day the Earth Stood Still is not just any sci-fi film; it's a cinematic masterpiece that has left an indelible mark on the genre. The original 1951 film, starring Michael Rennie as Klaatu, remains one of the most influential sci-fi movies in cinema history. Made during the early days of the Cold War, the film challenges its audience to look beyond national identity and consider the global implications of never-ending hostility with its, Jesus-like, Klaatu supposed to be Jesus, isn't it? Even takes the name Carpenter. So, make that what you will. And he dies and is resurrected. Chris Pratt's role. Right, according to Giant Freaking Robot, so take it with a pinch of salt. In this new adaptation, Chris Pratt is set to play the lead role of Klaatu, an alien who arrives on Earth with a dire warning for humanity. The character of Klaatu is not one that lends itself to the quip-filled lightheartedness that Pratt is known for, making this a unique opportunity for the actor to showcase his versatility. That's another scene from the remake, the Keanu Reeves version. Right, the original film's plot revolves around Klaatu's mission to warn humanity about its growing aggressive tendencies, which are causing concern among other galactic civilizations. The film's message was a reflection of the geopolitical tensions of its time, urging audiences to consider the global cost of hostility. And it was directed by Robert Wise, who will go on to direct films like Sound of Music, The Andromeda Strain, Star Trek: The Motion Picture, The Haunting. They've done everything as Robert Wise. The 2008 remake, starring Keanu Reeves as Klaatu, shifted its focus to address a more contemporary global issue, climate change. In this version, Klaatu arrives to save humanity from an ecological self-destruction. The film ends on a more somber note, with Klaatu shutting down all electronic devices on Earth as a means to save the planet. Yes, that's why it's called The Day the Earth Stood Still. 'Cause in the original, the Klaatu and his robot Gort basically shut down all the electrical power on Earth, except for like hospitals and planes in flight and stuff like that. Nobody died because of what he did, but he shut down all the power. Right, what can we expect from Pratt's version? And I think that is from Passengers, which were a pretty good film. It might not be, I don't know, but Passengers were a good film. I enjoyed that. Right, a new angle. Given the socio-political changes since the last adaptation, it's plausible that the upcoming remake might explore new themes or present a different perspective on existing ones. Whether it will touch upon current global issues or take a more traditional approach remains to be seen. Well, it's not about identity politics. It will be, won't it? It'll be a they, them. That'll be his mission. The Earth has got to become more inclusive. Chris Pratt's journey in Hollywood has been nothing short of phenomenal. From his comedic role in Parks and Recreation, which I've never seen, to leading roles in major franchises, Pratt has proven his mettle as an actor. His ventures into the sci-fi genre, especially with films like Guardians of the Galaxy, have solidified his position as a versatile actor capable of handling diverse roles. He was good in that, I forgot they called it now, Terminal List, the Amazon series Terminal List. He was good in that. The announcement of Chris Pratt's attachment to the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still has undoubtedly generated a wave of excitement among fans and cinephiles. With Pratt's star power and the film's iconic status, expectations are sky high. How can you have it sky high? I didn't even know this were happening. And it might not because it's from Giant Freaking Robot. As we await further details and the eventual release of the film, they're being optimistic, aren't they? One thing is certain, this remake promises to be a cinematic experience that pays homage to the original while offering something fresh for contemporary audiences. How do you know? You writing it, whoever wrote this? It could be anything for you, for all you know. Edward Lord, for God's sake. What do you make of this news? Blah, 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 blah. So there we go. It could happen because, there's nothing original these days in Hollywood. As a rule, which is probably why the creator, Gareth Edwards' new film, probably won't make that much money. Thankfully, it didn't cost a lot to make compared to other films. But anyway, yeah, I can see this happening. But is it still too soon? 2008, the last lot. It's not that long ago, is it? Saying that though, it's what are we on? It's 15 years, isn't it? Still not that long though, is it? To be completely honest. There we go. Anyway, so that's that one. Let's move on to the next one. Another film's getting remade, apparently. This is actually from Giant Freaking Robot. Here we go. There you are. Exclusive Starman remake with Michael B. Jordan in the works. I mean, Starman wasn't even that good to start with, was it? To be honest, saying that I haven't seen it for a really, really long time, so I might like it now. I did like it. I just didn't think it was, this amazing thing. Even for a John Carpenter film. Anyway, it's been almost 40 years, but it looks like these particular aliens haven't gotten any better at driving. What are you talking about? Our trusted and proven sources tell us Michael B. Jordan will star as the lead of a remake of 1984 Starman to be directed by Sean Levy, Free Guy. Jordan will take up the role originated by Jeff Bridges of an alien who crash lands on Earth and falls in love during his quest to get back home. It's like we're all right. It's like we're a love story, but back in the day, as a young man or teenager and young man, I want into lovey-dovey stories. I like watching the effects and stuff, but all the lovey-dovey parts, But I'd probably sit and cry now if I watched it now, being old. I'll have to watch it. I've got it somewhere. I think I've got it on. Actually, I think I've got it on VHS, which I've just uncovered a big row of VHS tapes. during a bit of a spring clean or autumn clean. Anyway, it was back in 2016 when it was revealed by the Hollywood Reporter that Sean Levy was attached to direct a Starman remake in development, with Arash Amel, a private war, never heard of it, writing the script. Back then, Levy was best known as the guy who had directed The Night at the Museum films. I've only seen the first one, I thought it was rubbish. Though he's since gained more notoriety as the man behind the camera of Free Guy, which I've not seen. That's the one with Ryan Reynolds in it. And one of the Duffer Brothers' most constant collaborators on Stranger Things. Oh, yeah, I've not seen his name somewhere else. Before the WGA and Film Actors Guild strike, he was busy directing the upcoming Deadpool 3. Before now, the last word we'd heard on the Starman remake wasn't very good. In 2020, Levy told Collider the film was either somewhere on the far horizon or unlikely to be made at all. The upshot is that I'm not going to touch that phenomenal movie unless I feel I have something new to say or a new way to say, Levy said. Pardon me, in 2020. Big Mac's repeating on me. Excuses. And thus far, in the script development of Starman, we haven't gotten to a draft that feels worthy of remaking that title. The news that Michael B. Jordan has joined the cast of Starman would seem to signal that either Arash Amel cracked the code of the remake or other screenwriters were brought on board. It's not rare at all for a script to go through multiple writers' hands before finally being acceptable to the production's other creatives. The original Starman, there's Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen. Being all lovey-dovey. I think this is just when he's leaving, I think, this. I gave you a child. He talks in a weird way, doesn't he? Gave you a baby or whatever he said. Anyway, the original Starman is, among other things, a testament to the range of its director, John Carpenter. While Carpenter remains best known for more horror and action-leaning features like Halloween, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, and more, Starman is more of a road trip romance. Jeff Bridges stars as the titular alien who crash lands in Wisconsin and assumes the form of recently deceased Scott Hayden, the former husband of Jenny Karen Allen. While Jenny is initially terrified of the alien, well, because it's a dead husband come back to life, isn't it? Apparently. He eventually convinces her to help him make his way across the country to Arizona, where his people can pick him up. Along the way, the pair fall in love. By the way, I think he was shot down. I think in the film, I think the aliens find, I think it's the Voyager probe. Is the Voyager a Pioneer? I think it's Voyager. They find that probe and realize it's from Earth, so they head to Earth, or they send Jeff Bridges out in a little ship, and it gets shot down and crashes in some woods in Wisconsin, and then he comes out as a ball of light, and then ends up floating into Karen Allen's house, finds a lock of hair of her dead husband, and clones himself, even though you can't clone yourself from hair. There must have been a follicle on it or something, because there's no DNA in hair, is there? It's just protein or whatever, isn't it? But anyway, by the by, and then he, he's got to get to Arizona, get to Meteor Crater in Arizona, and that's where the ship, which is a big silver ball, comes down, and that happens. Anyway, along the way, the pair fall in love. There's a nice scene where he brings a deer back to life. They encounter some hunters, and they've got a dead deer on the bonnet of their truck. And he brings it back to life because he's a magic alien as well. The original film was not a box office smash hit, but it was well received by critics. And by the way, he loves apple pie. Good like that. But it was well received by critics. Bridges earned his very first Oscar nomination for Best Leading Man, though he lost it to F. Murray Abraham for the latter's performance as Antonio Salieri in Amadeus, making Starman the only John Carpenter directed feature to receive an Oscar nomination. You'd have thought the thing had got one, wouldn't it, for special makeup effects and stuff. Maybe they didn't exist then, I don't know. Once we know more about Michael B. Jordan starring in the Starman remake, we'll make sure you know. Oh, there we go. Prey 2 is actually happening. Here's what we know. Well, I'm sure it is. It was good with Prey. I enjoyed that. But anyway, talking about Starman remake. Why not? Same with Day the Earth Stood Still. Why not? Nothing new under the sun, is there? But in this one, in a remake, it wouldn't be, it is a dead. It takes the form of, the leading lady's dead husband. Or if he does, she'll not be terrified. She'll kick his ass, and then she'll be the lead character leading him. He'll be all pathetic and weak, and she'll be the one saving him all the time. Because that's how they do things these days. Sorry for getting, like that. But it annoys me. Let's move on. Star Wars. Right. How a lost Star Wars prop from 1977 made its way into The Mummy 22 years later. Yes, it did, 22. I'm just counting it up. You don't need to see his identification. These aren't the droids you're looking for. There's a moment in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, or Star Wars, when Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, has been knocked out. R2-D2 is hiding and all seems lost, until a figure in a brown monk-style robe appears, pulls back his hood to say, "Hello there," to R2-D2. It was, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Sir Alec Guinness, Jedi, war veteran, and protector of the young son of his lost friend Anakin Skywalker, although we didn't know that at the time. He's comforting, wise, and unassuming in his robe. That robe is later left as the only remaining evidence of his existence after his fight with Darth Vader. It's a piece of movie and sci-fi history, yet somehow it was lost for many years. While you would think this is a costume the production would protect, you have to remember that no one could possibly have foreseen the juggernaut this franchise would become. Now we have tons of them shows, books, video games. Very few places in the world contain people who wouldn't know what a Jedi is. In the meantime, however, the robe was lost. Not only that, but it popped up in another film decades later, 1999's The Mummy. Here's where it ended up, how it found its way to another film, and where it is now. And there he is, facing off against Darth Vader. Only a master of evil, Darth. According to a 2005 article in The Age via Sci-Fi Wire, the iconic piece of movie history ended up being stored and later rented out from the UK costume shop Angels and Bermans. Now Angels Costumes, which has been around since 1840. All right. Company chairman Tim Angel, is that his real name? Anyway, was interviewed by the publication in '05 and said that no one would have thought to preserve it. Quote, the robe would have come in just after filming on Star Wars finished and before it was released. It didn't get any special treatment because at that point, Star Wars was just another sci-fi film. No one knew how big it would become. That takes care of the why. It was simply that no one knew how iconic it would end up being. In fact, the costume was rented out for other things, including customers wanted to hire a monk's outfit for a fancy dress party, and even the 1999 film The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser, in which it was worn by an extra. Angel's Costume supplies costumes for TV, film, and theatre productions. So how was it found in the first place? Excuse me. The robe went on an adventure from a certain point of view. A certain point of view? And there it is, after Obi-Wan disappeared. And you see Darth Vader prodding it with his foot. Although in the comic, I think he prods it with his lightsaber. It's very gruesome, Ben Kenobi's death in the comic. In the film, he just disappears, doesn't he? But in the comic, he's like, gets slashed with a lightsaber and he's like going, ah! Oh dear. Anyway, Angel explained that it was one of his staff who figured out what they had in their possession. He said one of the guys was sorting through this pile of monk's robes. I'm going to find that. Just bear with me. I've got the annual somewhere. I'm sure it's there. Is it there? I'll have to get my torch because it's dark. just bear with me. We're live. Who cares? There. It's not there. Where have I put it? Where have I put it? I bet it's in there, but I can't get at it. Never mind. Never mind. I thought my Star Wars, the original 1978 Star Wars annual. I thought it was there, and it isn't. So never mind. I'm going to show you the Ben's death. Anyway, never mind. I forgot what I want now. We'll start again. Angel explained it was one of his staff who figured out what they had in their possession. He said, quote, "One of the guys was sorting through this pile of monk's robes and saw this brown one with an odd-shaped hood. He put it on and the manager said, 'Oh my God, it's Alec Guinness's cloak from Star Wars. It's unmistakable, an iconic piece.' The robe then ended up on display at Harrods department store in London in 2005 as part of a British film costume exhibition. It then landed at the auction house Bonhams, where it was listed alongside other costumes, like a dress from Madonna's Evita. Pardon me. It was estimated to be worth £25,000, according to Deseret News. Bonham sold it to an anonymous bidder who bid over the phone for £54,000. $65,500 US. According to their listing and confirmed with them over email. As for where the robe is now, we don't know who bought it. This mystery person, like a Jedi turned hermit, has not revealed themselves. I bet it was George. If you want to experience that robe in action, A New Hope and the rest of the Star Wars films and shows are currently streaming on Disney Plus, but only the special edition. Never mind. So there you go. So some mystery person now owns Obi-Wan Kenobi's original robe from 1977. I wish I knew where that annual was. It might be in my case, my glass case with the glass door that I can't open it because there's things in front. Anyway, never mind. Never mind. I'm going to see if I can find. I'm going to find it. I'm going to see if I can find the picture. If that's enough. There we go. It's in colour as well. It wanted colour when I saw it. So open image. Where are we? Open image in new tab. Right, so just bear with me. Just bear with me. I'll just remove that because I'll have to full screen that. There we go. Oh, it's not making that big. It's just making the text bigger. Never mind. There you go. That's how he died in the comics. I, Darth Vader, Zrak. He didn't just disappear in a puff of smoke, did he? He died screaming. The Sith Lord brings his sword down, seemingly cutting his elder foe in half. In the film, it's like horizontally in half, and this is vertically. Ben Kenobi's cloak falls to the floor in 2 parts, and then he's prodding it with his lightsaber. But Ben is not in it, and Vader, puzzled at the old man's disappearance, pokes at the empty cloak. Neither he nor the distracted troopers have seen 5 forms racing towards the captured starship. Great comic, great comic. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. Right. Let's move on. Oops, wrong button. Sticking with Star Wars, on Hollywood Reporter now, Rogue One director says there is so much inaccuracy on the internet about its making. Rogue One, I've said it's my favourite Star Wars film. I kind of revised that a little bit now, over time. It's still up there. It might be my second favourite. After the original Star Wars, I've kind of rediscovered my love for the original Star Wars. But Rogue One's up there. As I've said, because it's a war film. It is actually a war film, Star Wars. Anyway. Gareth Edwards, who returns to the screen with the creator, I really want to see that film. It's getting really good reviews. And some not so good, but mostly good reviews. I really want to see it. I'm a Gareth Edwards fan. I like Monster and I like Godzilla. And I love Rogue One. Anyway, Gareth Edwards, who returns to the screen with the creator, shares his thoughts about reports that Andor creator Tony Gilroy sidelined him in the 2016 Star Wars film. That was a rumour that something like 45%, something like that, of the Rogue One got reshot by Tony Gilroy, but Maybe we'll find the truth out here. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, or as everybody calls it, Rogue One, is considered a high point for the franchise following Disney's purchase of Lucasfilm in 2012. Well, yes, it's the best thing they've done. The film grossed more than $1 billion globally and launched the critically acclaimed prequel series Andor on Disney+, which is Andor is probably the best in terms of quality Star Wars series that we've had. It's a pity no bugger watched it, but never mind. The path to getting there has become the stuff of Star Wars legend, with stories of reshoots and creative overhauls well documented in the press. But according to director Gareth Edwards, there is so much inaccuracy circulating about the film's making. In June 2016, Lucasfilm hired Oscar-nominated writer Tony Gilroy, who'd done I think they'd done the Bourne films, hadn't they? Not the first one, but I think he did them after that, didn't he? Maybe the second or third, or maybe the second and third, I can't remember. Anyway, to join the Rogue One team, reports emerged that his influence was so great that he has been considered the film's ghost director, overseeing reshoots and post-production. Edwards, who retained the sole director credit, is now back with the creator, a well-regarded sci-fi film. In an interview with Kim Masters for KCRW's The Business, I have no idea what that means, he gave some of his most extensive reflections on the Rogue One situation to date. Notably, he pushed back against the narrative surrounding on-set strife. I don't think there were on-set strife because it stayed didn't he, with Lucasfilm, even though the reports were that Tony Gilroy reshot huge chunks of the film, but it still stayed in Lucasfilm's good books, didn't it? Retained his director credit. He appeared in Last Jedi, didn't he? As a rebel soldier on that planet, Crate, the Salt Planet. It was one of them gets what we think's like snow, and he goes salt, and he's the other soldier that goes. That's Gareth Edwards. Anyway, so the stuff that is out there on the internet about what happened on that film, there is so much inaccuracy about the whole thing, Edwards said. Tony came in, he did a lot of great work for sure, no doubt about it, but we all worked together until the last minute of that movie. Rogue One included 5 weeks of reshoots, and Edwards noted he was there all along. The very last thing that we filmed in the pickup shoot was the Darth Vader corridor scene, Edwards said of a signature scene at the end of the film. I did all that stuff. A lot of people think that Tony Gilroy did that. I did. I thought he did that. Maybe he wrote it. Maybe once, in the original script. Maybe it wasn't in Gareth Edwards' original script. But it looks like Gareth Edwards directed it. Ooh, excuse me. Ultimately, Edwards said he would not speak ill of an experience like directing a Star Wars film. Someone who gets the opportunity to make a Star Wars film and then starts complaining about it, I don't think many people have that much empathy for that kind of person. And he's right. So I don't want to be them. It was a dream come true. I'm proud of the movie we all made because it's really good, said Edwards, apart from the Borg Gullet scene. I hate that. What goes into Fight Club? What goes into Fight Club stays in Fight Club, kind of thing. It's like that. I just want to sound grateful for what happened and not talk negatively about anything. The creator puts Edwards back in the Disney fold as the company's 20th Century Studios is releasing it. I still wish they call it Fox, 20th Century Fox, but whatever. The $80 million budgeted. The $80 million budgeted film is expected to earn around $14 million domestically this weekend. Gilroy, too, is still in the Disney fold as the creator of the Rogue One prequel, Andor. Gilroy spoke candidly about his experience in a 2018 appearance on the podcast, The Moment with Brian Koppelman. I've never been interested in Star Wars ever, so I had no reverence for it whatsoever. I was unafraid about that, said Gilroy, and they were in such a swamp. They were in so much terrible, terrible trouble that all you could do was improve their position. And that's it. That's it. So basically all he says is, even though Tony Gilroy probably did rewrite 45% of the film, Gareth Edwards was there directing those rewrites, I think. And he probably acted as a producer as well, didn't he, Tony Gilroy? So he was probably there telling Gareth what to do, no doubt, or giving him advice, a seasoned director, because I think Gareth had only done 2 films prior to that, hadn't he? 2 big blockbuster films, so to speak. Well, 1 big blockbuster film and Monsters, which wasn't a big blockbuster, just looked like one. Anyway, so there we go. It's a good film. Watch it. It's on Disney Plus. Or get the Blu-ray. All right, we're on Star Trek next. Nearly done. We're getting there. The one Star Trek plotline, Lower Decks, will never do. Remember Lower Decks? When I used to say I hate Lower Decks. I love it now. I'm so fickle. I am. Anyway, there was a brief moment only just a few years ago when it seemed there were 6 Star Trek shows running simultaneously. CBS All Access, later Paramount Plus, debuted with Star Trek Discovery in 2017. I liked season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. It just went rubbish after that. And padded out their Trek schedule shortly thereafter with short treks. I hated the short treks. Apart from the one with Harry Muddin, Rain Wilson. Is it Rain Wilson? Yeah. Apart from that one, that was fine. A monthly series clearly made to keep Trekkies hooked on subscriptions. Then in 2020, both Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Lower Decks, which I hated initially, but now I love it, debuted. In 2021, the Nickelodeon series Star Trek Prodigy, which is really good, started up. And in 2022, we got Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which I really like. Every one of these shows was for a moment active. Recent months have, however, seen a contraction of that initial glut. Short treks is an every once in a while thing rather than a regular series. They're doing some very short treks at the moment, animated ones. They're not great. They're mildly amusing. Some people are, getting a bit on their high horses about it. So, it's a disgrace to Star Trek and all that. It's just a bit of fun. Star Trek can be fun. It's just a bit of fun. They're just little cartoons, Don't take them seriously. They're not as if they're canon. Anyway, Picard came to an end, thank God. Although season 3 was good, it wasn't great. It was good. And both Discovery and Prodigy will end after their next seasons. Well, Prodigy was cancelled off Paramount Plus and removed, although the latest very short trek did include a little snippet of characters from Prodigy. But you can't see Prodigy now on Paramount Plus, but you can see it on Amazon Prime. You can buy it on Amazon Prime, and they've been allowed to shop the season 2 around to other streamers. They've been allowed to finish it and shop it around to other streamers. And Discovery's finishing after season 5. Thank God. And then there were 2. With all those shows running simultaneously, though, the various showrunners likely had to coordinate very carefully as to not step on each other's toes. It would have been good manners to ensure. By the way, and then there was 2. Was Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. They're the only 2 left. After Discovery and Prodigy end. With all those shows running simultaneously, though, the various showrunners likely had to coordinate very carefully as to not step on each other's toes. They didn't care. It would have been good manners to ensure no one was repeating stories, changing fundamental premises, or killing off characters. They didn't care. They didn't even know. Remember in Star Trek Discovery Season 2, in probably the first episode, I can't actually remember, it might have been the first episode, I think it was, where Christopher Pike and Number One, who would later learn is called Una, come aboard the Discovery from the Enterprise, and they've got new uniforms, which looked awful, but they were a little bit closer to the colouring and stuff we saw from the original series, but they still look terrible. They look better in Strange New Worlds, but the ones in Discovery look terrible. But there were the colour scheme from the original series, like mustard, for command, and red for engineering and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Blue for sciences and medical. They were in those, and they were told, "Oh, I see you've got the new uniforms," and said, "Yes, we just got them." And that was the end. We didn't see them, and then later they brought out the short treks, and it was supposedly set long before, I don't know when, before the met up with Discovery. I think it was supposed to be Spock's first day on the Enterprise. Remember, by the time we get to Discovery, Spock had been in the Enterprise for years. So it's supposed to be his first day on the Enterprise, and he's nervous, a young ensign, and he gets trapped in a turbo lift with Una, and the singing in it. It's bloody awful. I hate it. But they've got the new uniforms, which obviously weren't new because Spock had been on the Enterprise for years by that time. So that's it. They don't even know their own canon that they make themselves. Anyway, where were we? Right. It helped that the shows all took place in separate time frames. Not really. All but, I mean, Discovery ended up going into the 32nd century, but for the first 2 seasons, it were in the same time frame as Strange New Worlds, wasn't it? Anyway, no time frames, all but assuring the characters couldn't easily interact. Strange New Worlds takes place before the original Star Trek, while Lower Decks and Prodigy take place after the events of Voyager. Picard takes place another 20 years beyond that, and Discovery swept forward to the following millennium, which was stupid. Let's not step on each other's toes. In a recent interview with Inverse, Lower Decks supervising director Barry Kelly talked about that aspect of showrunning, and thanks to what's happening currently on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, he will never touch the Gorn. Gorn Utopia. The Gorn have played a large part in Strange New Worlds, serving as the series' most revisited villains. They're making them out to be the big bad, aren't they? The Gorn have attacked the USS Enterprise from space, have implanted eggs inside the abdomens of certain members of the Enterprise crew, and in the finale of the show's second season are poised to destroy a human colony and eat its inhabitants. Characters talk about the Gorn in hushed tones, terrified of the threat they pose. In order to stay in line with dialogue from the original Star Trek series, few people in Starfleet have actually seen a Gorn up close. Although I think in the original season, there's supposed to be no information about the Gorn at all. Not that few people have seen them. Anyway. After the original series episode Arena, which aired in 1967, the Gorn became, and don't forget, in Star Trek Discovery, which is set before the events of Strange New Worlds, Captain Lorca had a Gorn skeleton in his office. But anyway, whatever. As I said, they don't care. They don't care. Because the Gorn became an official part of Star Trek canon, likely because of the Gorn mask worn by the on-screen actors and stuntmen. However, Trek has been reluctant to bring them back too often. The Gorn wouldn't appear until Star Trek Enterprise in the early 2000s, which was a CG version of it, and it was fine. It looked a little bit iffy because it was, TV CG. But it was fine, and it didn't have a tail. For some reason, the Gorn in Strange New Worlds have tails. Don't know why. Lower Decks might easily have had an all Gorn episode, and there could easily be passing references to the Gorn. Lower Decks is lousy with deep cut Trek references. That's why I didn't like it to begin with. They were a bit too much early on, but it seems to have, I don't know, mellowed a little bit. But Kelly didn't dare steal any of Strange New World's thunder. In brief, he merely said, we would never do the Gorn. Excuse me. This is, one might imagine, a promise made after the first season episode Veritas, wherein Ensign Rutherford, Eugene Cordero, recalled via his cranial implant that he once stumbled into a Gorn wedding. Upset at the interruption, the Gorn all leap out of their seats and savage Rutherford. Luckily, he seems to have escaped with his life intact. Beyond that, a passing line of dialogue or a background detail, it seems that the Gorn will not return. Kelly is politely leaving Gorn stories to the Strange New Worlds writers. I think the Gorn got I don't know, did they get mentioned? No, they didn't. Cestus 3 got mentioned because in the episode Arena, where are we? That were on Cestus 3, and Cestus 3 got mentioned in Deep Space Nine, didn't it? Because there's a Federation colony on there now, which plays baseball. Anyway, so there you go. The Lower Decks is not going to do the Gorn. Who cares? Not me. Right. The Galactic Starcruiser, which is no more. It's closed down now, I think. Right, never forget to ignite the spark. Galactic Starcruiser's crew honour their time together as the final voyage ends. As the final voyage of the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser comes to an end, the cast and crew of the immersive experience honour their time together. And there's what it looks. Supposed to be the Halcyon, which they tried to, shoehorn into canon, didn't they? Making it the ship that Han and Leia had their honeymoon on. Anyway, the immersive experience Star Wars created at the Galactic Starcruiser has completed its final voyage. By the way, Jay, Drunk 3PO, and X-Wing did a great live stream yesterday, all about the Galactic Starcruiser. So go check it out, Drunk 3PO's YouTube channel. It was a great stream. Going through all the videos and photos and stuff that have come out about the Galactic Starcruiser over the last, year and a half or whatever. Anyway, the immersive experience Star Wars created at the Galactic Starcruiser has completed its final voyage, and now the cast and crew of the Halcyon are sharing their memories to honour their time spent together. By the way, I've not read this, so it could be awful. The Halcyon Starcruiser officially began its voyage on March the 1st, 2022, and a year and a half later, the immersive experience has closed its launch pod doors once and for all. Maybe it shouldn't have cost $6,000. The 3-day, 2-night experience was supposedly a celebration of the ship's 275th anniversary voyage that took passengers on the adventure of a lifetime during the height of the Resistance First Order conflict, and now the Halcyon will remain docked on its home planet of Chandrila, the homeworld of Mon Mothma, Chancellor of the New Republic. Following the completion of the Galactic Starcruiser's final voyage, the cast and crew have taken to social media to share their appreciation for the many memories they made during the course of the Halcyon's adventures. The immersive experience, I keep saying that, don't they? Took many meticulous moving parts to put on its 48-hour show, and those who were able to bring the characters of the Galactic Starcruiser to life are now sharing what it was like to be a part of the Star Wars galaxy. I suppose they've got to be, optimistic about it and nice, because a lot of them got tattoos, didn't they? They got tattoos of, that symbol, which is supposed to be the Chandrila star lines or whatever symbol. But some people have said it looks like chopsticks on a rice bowl with a little thing of soy sauce. But anyway. Right, Rin with the good hair. How can we look at these images? Is that supposed to be Chewy? Right, very good. Looking up at something. There's some. That's the singer, isn't it? Remember that cringe trailer? There she is again. I can't remember her name. Anyway, there you go. Oh, she having is that a Dagobah drink? There's drinks in it that cost an arm and a leg. Everything costs an arm and a leg. There we go. Right. Cameron Burton, who shared the likeness of cruise director Lenka Mock and the intergalactic superstar Gaia, that's a name, aboard the Halcyon. So there's a little fly flying about. Aboard the Halcyon, talks about the importance of being able to say goodbye to something while still maintaining the lessons it taught. She also reminds people to never forget to ignite the spark. A touching ode to Lenka's resistance allegiance. And there she is. This another. Look at some more images. There you go. She's singing away. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. That Aiden shouting at me. Stop singing. As the first Gaia to debut at the Star Wars experience, Mayhem Mutton shares everything that the rock star queen of the Halcyon taught her. Gaia's strength and confidence helped her to honour her own, and she knows that the Starcruiser's closure won't be the end of their story. They'll probably do books or something, won't they, and comics. There's some more images here, look, from Ben Ian Bailey. Doing his work with a droid. That's Chewie. Locked up. Somebody was saying, though, there was a story when they did a trailer where you could play as baddies and capture Chewie and lock him up. But then other people saying that's not actually part of it. That's that trailer was misleading, but it looks locked up there, doesn't it? Maybe this is from that dodgy. Look, stick at Chewie. It looks bloody awful. Doesn't look like a bloody black and white minstrel, doesn't it? He does. I'm sorry. He does. Anyway. Oh, look, he gets dressed up as a stormtrooper. Look, that is story. Ben Bailey writes a touching tribute to the Resistance stowaway and makeshift mechanic Sammy, coining his experience as the adventure of a lifetime. He credits his fellow crew and the passengers for bringing such magic to the Galactic Starcruiser with each and every voyage they embarked on together. I bet it was fun. If you worked there, I bet it was fun. And probably kind of scary at first, but once you got used to it, I suppose it was all right. Some more pictures to look at. These are the interiors of the Starcruiser. Not showing the bedrooms, are they? With the, really uncomfortable looking beds, I must admit. Keep showing her a lot, don't they? Not showing the lightsaber training, which looked terrible. There we go. Here's Kylo's here now. He goes to have this fight with Ray's there as well, and she ignites her lightsaber, and then everybody's supposed to look away. Something happens to distract the onlookers, and as everybody's looking away, she ducks down, puts her lightsaber down that's just ignited, and picks up her fighting lightsaber and goes and fights Kylo Ren. Anyway, portraying an impressive collection of 4 different characters during his Halcyon experience, Justin Beard thanks each character he brought to life. From the lovable scoundrel Wraith Cole to the infamous Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Justin shares that all of them taught him even more about himself with each new journey. And some more images as well. And that's the captain in it. The what people have said, the Kathleen Kennedy insert. I'm not saying anything. Oh, for God's sake. I'm sure he had lots of fun. I'm sure he did. As a frequent face of the First Order's Lieutenant Croy, Adam Riley draws on some of Croy's familiar humour first before he confesses that words don't suffice in describing his time on the Halcyon. They also share inspiring words about the death and rebirth of galaxies that beautifully represent the Starcruiser's current journey. Don't know what I'm talking about. And mate, there's it going into hyperspace. The Force was at the heart of Mike Madden's Starcruiser journey between his roles. How long does this go on for? Yeah, anyway, so they're all saying goodbye to the Starcruiser. There you go. Oh, and there's a big model of it. Look, I bet that's worth some money now. And oh, there we go. Starcruiser may be gone, but it leaves a galactic legacy. No, it doesn't. A legacy that they've shoehorned in. There you go. Han and Leia embarked on their honeymoon just weeks after the Battle of Endor. The Halcyon was also the site of Rey and Kylo's only battle between the events of Star Wars: The Last Jedi and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. But there's going to be comics, look. There's going to be comics. Halcyon Legacy comics. Whoopie-doo. Nobody cares. That's why it's closing. Plus, also, it was $6,000 for 3 nights. And there were even more expensive stuff, weren't there? There were even more expensive stuff. They had a drink, didn't they? That cost something like $5,000 or whatever. God knows why. Anyway, sod that. Right, one last little snippet now. Because it's October now, so I've decided at the end of each live stream now, or the end of each live news stream, I'm going to do a little ghost thing. It's Spooktober, isn't it? So I'm going to do... Hang on, it's not going to start playing, is it? No, it didn't. So here we go. So I was going to pick, an interesting ghost video. I watch a lot of ghost videos from places like Bizarre Bub and Nuke's Top 5 and Sir Spooks and people like that. King Frostmare. Who else? Who else do I watch? And others. fearsome top 5, places like that. I watch ghost videos because they're interesting. Most of them are rubbish, but they're still interesting to me. So I thought I'll just we'll play one ghost video just to close the show because it's Spooktober. So here we go. Are you ready? This one's from Bizarre Bub.
In the city of Krugerstorp, South Africa, a mysterious video was filmed by a real estate agent who was touring a property for sale. It isn't known if the house in this video has been sold yet, but considering what happens in this clip, it may just be that no one will be buying this house anytime soon. Apparently, something very freaky was caught on camera. Take a look. After watching the video, the real estate agent was shocked to see that someone was in the house. They don't recall ever seeing anyone else inside, but apparently, based on the footage, someone was there. Or, so it seems. Looking at the video again, it appears that whoever this was just suddenly disappears. As quickly as they appear, they vanish without a sign. Although it's unknown what the agent thinks, viewers believe that something paranormal was caught on camera. But of course, I'll leave it to you to decide if that's so. Just who or what was inside this house. If you caught
There we go. Nearly forgot to unmute myself. So there you go. Was that a ghost or was it just a person in the house? I don't know. But it's kind of spooky, isn't it? They just glide through past. There's like a door. They don't disappear, do they? Go through a door, don't they? So, but it looked like an empty house. So was there somebody squatting there? I don't know. Or was it an actual ghost? It could be, for all I know. 'Cause I believe in ghosts. That's why I watch all these ghosty videos. And as I've said before, weird stuff's happening in this house. But not for a while, and hopefully, not now. I'm getting chills now. But anyway. So there we go. We'll leave it there. We will leave it there. So, thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, hang on, before I go, got to plug my other shows, haven't I? What day are we on? Sunday. Tomorrow is Magnificent Mondays, another live stream where I'll be doing, this classic Sword and the Sorcerer from 1982. Albert Pyun's debut movie, the late Albert Pyun, who passed away this year. So that's a good swashbuckling film. Came out before Conan the Barbarian because they can't say we're cashing in on the Conan craze because it came out before. But that's tomorrow, and then I'll have another news stream on Wednesday. Fingers crossed, and another ghost video, maybe a better one than that. And Friday night appointment with Fear. Next Friday is I'll put that back there. Next Friday's appointment with Fear is Event Horizon, starring Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne and Sean Pertwee, Jason Isaacs and Jolie Richardson and others. A great Paul W.S. Anderson's best film, not his first film, but his best film. By a long way. Right, we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee.